Mr. Palazzo is recognized for the purpose of amendment.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I have an amendment at the desk.
Would you consider it read?
I ask that the reading be dispensed with.
Well, the gentleman's recognized.
Mr. Chairman, my amendment is would use unobligated balances from prior years within the Science and Technology Directorate to purchase long lead time materials for the 12th and final National Security Cutter. As I stated at our subcommittee markup, I have great concern over the lack of funding for the 12th and final National Security Cutter in this bill. We're only one ship short of completing a one-for-one replacement of the high-endurance cutters. Why are these ships needed? Just this Monday, it was reported by the Washington Examiner that during the past 2 months, the Coast Guard has intercepted $729 million worth of cocaine from boats transporting drugs from Central America to the U.S. A total of 53,000 pounds of cocaine was seized. These interceptions took place in the Eastern Pacific as well as the Caribbean. The street value of these seizures over the past 2 months alone is enough to pay for just one national security cutter. We have already talked extensively on this matter, but back in February, the President requested $1.6 billion in funding for construction of a border wall. The bill before us today contains $5 billion in funding for physical barriers and associated technology. While I'm fully supportive of building a wall on our southern border, we can't forget that our nation has a wide-open maritime border. California alone has 840 miles of coastline, Florida 1,350 miles of coastline, and the Gulf Coast combined states share 1,631 miles of coastline. So, ladies and gentlemen, it is the maritime border that carries thousands of pounds of cocaine and other dangerous drugs into our country annually, destroying lives, families, and communities. Any conversation about border security is not complete unless we also address our maritime border needs. For every dollar that we spend on the wall, we should also be beefing up our maritime capabilities. And the largest portion of that capability is the funding of our Coast Guard fleet. In 2016, the Coast Guard interdicted over 6,000 illegal migrants and over 201 metric tons of cocaine. In 2017, 4 NSCs interdicted 56.3 metric tons of cocaine with a street value of over $1.6 billion. This year, the Coast Guard is on track for the most significant drug interdiction year in history. These ships are essential, and it is vital that we have 12 national security cutters to replace the 12 high-endurance cutters that we are retiring out of the fleet. And by almost every measure, the Coast Guard is underfunded. They have crumbling infrastructure and ships that are desperately in need of replacement. It is the responsibility of this committee to prioritize giving the Coast Guard the equipment and training that it needs. So, Mr. Chairman, I ask for support of this committee, of this amendment, and I yield back the balance of my time.
Thank the gentleman for his amendment. Chairman Yoder.
Thank you, Mr.